أن المساجد لله فلا تدعوا مع الله أحدا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وأصحابه أجمعين. Inshallah, today, brothers and sisters, we're going to be refuting, I think possibly one of the last shubahat that the Shia will bring about Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. And that's, he didn't die a Muslim. He died, what? A Kaafir. Now, they bring a couple main narrations, inshallah, so we're going to go through them. The first one being, okay, in Ansab al-Ashraf by al-Baladhuri, okay, with two chains. So the first one we're going to start with is the one on the bottom of the scan you can see, okay, which says, حدثني عبد الله بن صالح حدثني يحيى بن آدم عن شريك. Pay attention. عن شريك. So this is the guy we're going to highlight. Let's continue. عن ليث عن طاووس عن عبد الله بن عمر قال كنت جالسا عند النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فطلع عليهم من هذا فج رجل يموت يوم يموت على غير ملتي. قال وكنت تركت أبي يلبس ثيابه فخشيت أن يطلع فطلع معاوية. Okay, what does it say? It says that Abdullah bin Amr said to the Prophet that on this Fajr, a man will appear, okay, to you the day that he dies. When he dies, he will die on a religion other than my religion. Basically, he'll die a Kaafir. I left my father to go do whatever he was doing, and I was afraid that he would come out. And who appeared? Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. And then there's a second chain that says the same thing. I don't need to read the matan because it's more or less identical. I don't need to read the text, but the chain is different. Okay, so we're going to start with the first chain, inshallah. Remember the guy I mentioned? Sharik. And as you can see on screen, okay, he's the first problem area. Sharik bin Abdullah al-Nakha'i. Now we're going to present Taqrib al-Tahdhib by Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar rahmatullah alayhi. Okay, and we look at what he has to say about him. He says, and inshallah we're gonna gather the scans and present it on screen. Sharik bin Abdullah al-Nakha'i, who is Saduq, okay, but he made a lot of mistakes, and his hifz, his memorization, it got worse. Okay, well it changed, but of course by changing means it got worse when he was appointed as the Qadi in Kufa. طيب, if you go to Siyar A'lam al-Nubala, Volume 8, inshallah, we're going to get the scans and present this. He says, some of Hafidh al-Dhahabi now, al-Dhahabi speaking, some of the Imams stopped making a case with his words. They stopped bringing it forward as an argument. Because, of course, they realized he was weak. And in the same volume, okay, what does he say? He says, no one brought Sharik forth, okay? Nobody brought Sharik forth except Imam Muslim and his followers, meaning those who saw him as authentic, and they were only a few, okay? And Al-Bukhari, he only brought out a few comments about him, okay? Now, if you look at, okay, again, Taqrib al-Tahdhib, Hafidh ibn Hajar, he comments on the second problem in the chain, Layth. If you go back, you'll see we mentioned Layth ibn Sulaym, and he says, okay, that he's Saduq, but he mixed up a lot of things. He mixed up a lot of things. Tamam. Now, if we go to Al-Du'afa al-Matrukin by Ibn al-Jawzi in volume 3, he says, Ibn Uyayna and An-Nasa'i weakened him. And Ahmad bin Hanbal said that he was troubled in hadith. And As-Sa'di said that his hadith are da'if. And Abu Hatim al-Razi and Abu Zur'a said, don't work with his hadiths. He's troubled, okay, in hadith. Ibn Hibban said he made a lot of mistakes in his old age. So the same thing that Al-Dhahabi mentioned in Siyar A'lam al-Nubala, Ibn Hibban's mentioning. In his old age, he made a lot of mistakes and he used to change hadiths and he used to play with marasil. He used to وَيَرْفَعُ الْمَرَاسِيلِ, if I remember correctly. But I don't have it in front of me, but that's what it said, something like that. The third problem is the author himself, Al-Baladhuri. Okay? Now, who is Al-Baladhuri? Okay, that's the issue. Is that we, Ahl Sunnah, we say that he's majhul. That nobody does tawthiq of him from Ahlul Ilm. Except, ironically enough, the Shia. Except the Shia. And this is, and we're going to present a scan of the screen on the screen. Sharif al-Murtada mentioning in Kitab al-Shafi Lil Imamah, Volume 4. Okay, we're going to present it on screen. Baladhuri narrated this in his Tarikh, and he is known, okay? And he is ثقة. وقد روي البلاذري في تاريخه وهو معروف ثقة والضبط. And he is known and trustworthy and documented. Like he's somebody who's been, we know who he is, we found out who he is. Okay? And he seems similar to us in our approach. He seems similar to the Shia in their approach. Allah al-Musta'an. So this is who they're bringing to us, that their own scholars are saying, we like this guy, we love him. He's trustworthy. He seems similar to us in our approach. This is who they're dealing with. Okay, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so that's the point. That nobody does tawthiq of al-Baladhuri. We have no idea who he is. Okay. Tamam. Now we go to, those are the three main problems in that chain. أولا. Now we go to the second chain, okay, which is Ishaq from Bakr bin Haytham from Abdul Razak bin Hammam, okay, who's Abdul Razak al-San'ani, the famous author of the Musannaf and the Tafsir, from Ma'mar, from Ibn Tawus, from his father, from Amr ibn al-As, okay. So again, Baladhuri is the issue, okay, the first issue in the chain. Second one is actually Abdul Razak al-San'ani. So Imam Bukhari mentions in his Tarikh, okay, what does he say? He says that whatever he narrated in his books are more correct. More correct than whatever he narrates down a chain, of course. Also, okay, Yahya ibn Ma'in, this is mentioned by Yahya ibn Ma'in, okay, says that Abdul Razak said to me, Abdul Razak al-San'ani, write down from me, even if it's one hadith from other than my book, what's in my Musannaf, okay? And Yahya ibn Ma'in says, no, not even a letter I'm not going to write from you. Because he knew it's not good whatever he's narrating outside of his books. Okay, Imam al-Bukhari, we mentioned earlier, even in his Tarikh, he reflects the same sentiment. We've read that out as well. If you go to Mizan al-I'tidal, okay, the same thing is mentioned. That Athram said that I heard Abu Abdullah being asked about the fire of Jubar and this particular hadith. Okay, and he says it's false. Why does he weaken this hadith? Is it the matan? Let's continue reading. Who narrated it? Okay, with this hadith from Abdul Razak. Okay, I say, I think this is Ahmed bin Shubayya, if I'm correct. Wallah, I'm not sure. I think this is Ahmed bin Hanbal, I'm not sure. But the Imam is saying this, and Al-Dhahabi is recording this. He says, I say that he was receiving falsehood, and it is not from his books, and whatever he narrated with a chain and it wasn't from his books is false. It's false. And again, Mizan al-I'tidal, he's quoting An-Nasa'i, who says there is doubt in whoever writes from him what he didn't write. طيب. And Ibn Adi also mentions the same thing. You can see the scan on screen. Inshallah, you can see it on screen. That's the first thing, okay? And there's actually problems, because certain ulama have commented on Abdul Razak and Ma'mar, and they've said that this could be seen as da'if. Wallahu a'lam. But this could be another issue that's in the chain, okay? So Allah al-Musta'an. Now, if you look above the narration that we've mentioned, okay, what does it say? It says, okay, now here's where it gets interesting. We look at what it says. What does it say? It says, let's look at the report. Just above the report that we were highlighting, it says, فقال الآن يطلع علينا من هذا الفجر رجل من أهل الجنة فطلع معاوية فقلت هو هذا؟ قال نعم هو هذا. Ha. Okay. Now this hadith is ضعيف. That's where the craziest part is. So there's a lot to unpack here. Let's just first translate that. So essentially it says today or right now الآن so a man is gonna come, okay, same report as the other thing, but except it says من أهل الجنة, he's gonna be from the people of Jannah. And then the guy says, the person who's narrating رضي الله عنه, فطلع معاوية. Now Muawiyah came. And قلت هو هذا? I said, is this him? فقال نعم هو هذا. Now the Prophet said, yes, عليه الصلاة والسلام, this is him. Firstly, alhamdulillah, Ahlul Sunnah, we're not Ahlul Hawa. This is da'if. Ibn al-Jawzi weakened this, and I haven't seen anybody authenticate this. But this just shows you the insanity that Ansab al-Ashraf is. You have one narration that literally says the guy is going to Jannah. The very next report, he's going to Nar. The next two reports, An-Nar Jahannam. So this is the point that we're making. This is the insanity. This is Ansab al-Ashraf. So when they quote to you these books, always think to yourself, okay, is it reliable? Is it truthful? Is your understanding of it correct? Can you bring authentication? The author, so on and so forth, inshallah. Okay, now we move on to the next shubha. طيب, what's the next shubha? This is in Musnad al-Imam Ahmad. Okay, so nowhere near as insane book. It's actually Musnad Ahmad. What does it say? It says, سمعت أبي أحمد يقول. So the text says, مات والله. Let's actually read the chain. وسمعت أبا عبد الله يقول له الدلوي. سمعت علي بن جعد يقول مات والله معاوية على غير الإسلام. So what does it say? That Imam Ahmad heard, okay, so, Ad-Dallaway say to him that Ali bin Ja'ad said, Wallahi, by Allah, Muawiyah died on other than Islam. Yani a Kaafir. Okay, now if you go to Siyar A'lam al-Nubala by Al-Dhahabi, okay, what does it mention? Al-Dhahabi actually quotes Al-Juzajani saying that Ali bin Ja'ad, the guy who has this opinion, who holds this, he was attracted to bid'ah and he distorted the truth. So this is Ali bin Ja'ad. Okay. Now, same reference, yeah? Al-Dhahabi quotes Al-Uqayli as saying, I asked Abu Abdullah or Abdullah bin Ahmad bin Hanbal, say, why don't you write from Ali bin Jurayj? He said, my father Ahmad bin Hanbal forbade me to take from him. It was reported that he used to insult the Sahaba. So this is the view of Ahmad bin Hanbal. It's easy to just open a book out. Hey, let's open it up. What does it say? What does it say? And read it out and nice and dandy. But it's not easy, like we showed with the Muawiyah drinking and all of these shubuhat. The scholar who's compiling this, what's their view on this? What did they understand this to say? They won't show you this. Let's continue. Imam Muslim said he's thiqa, ولكن هو جهمي. Okay. Now Dhahabi saying that he has the description of Ahmad bin Hanbal. Okay. That he has the description that Ahmad bin Hanbal gave him. What did Ahmad bin Hanbal say? Don't go near him. Don't take from him because he curses the Sahaba. Like these Rawafid. Okay. What does the original narration say at its footnote? What does it actually say in its footnote? It says, okay, that وقد سقط جواب أحمد بن حنبل في أصله ولعله قال بئس ما يقول أو بئس ما قال. So it says, now this is the publisher saying that there was a mistake in perhaps the manuscript or whatever, copying We don't know, but they said that if you literally go down, wallahi, these Shia don't read what they show you. They don't read it. These Kufan scholars, these whatever, bring it out to them and give it to them. They don't read it. You literally go to the footnote. It says that the publishers, they made a mistake in the response of Ahmad bin Hanbal to this narration. And he says, wretched is what he says. Ali bin Jurayj. And his son Ahmad bin Hanbal is telling us, don't go near him. Okay. Now, if you go to a Sunnah, okay, Kitab al-Sunnah, what does it say? I asked Ahmad bin Hanbal if I can take from a man who says Muawiyah is, let me look at the Arabic actually. أبا عبد الله عن سألت أبا عبد الله عن رجل إذا قال معاوية مات على غير إسلام أو كافر قال لا ثم قال لا يكفر رجال من أصحاب رسول الله. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But that's the part I wanted to focus on. La. He says that the author is saying, I asked Ahmad bin Hanbal if I can take from a man who says that Muawiyah died on other than Islam or he died a Kaafir, and he said no, don't take from him. Okay. Al-Dhahabi actually mentions, okay, in his Tarikh, that a man who says, he was asked about the same thing. A man who says that who is a Shi'i, and has hateful speech to Muawiyah, and Dallaway said, I heard Yahya say Muawiyah died on other than Islam. What does he say? Let me open the Arabic. سمعت يحيى أن يقول so on and so forth كان معاوية على غير مات على غير الإسلام قال كذب عدو الله. The enemy of Allah has lied. The enemy of Allah has lied. Now we're going to be presenting a scan on screen of Ibn al-Qayyim and what he has to say on this. Okay. ومن ذلك ما وضع الكذابون في مناقب أبي حنيفة والشافعي على التنصيص على اسميهما وما وضع so that's about Abu Hanifa, and he's basically saying all of the narrations slandering him and what Shafi'i had to say about him, they're all ضعيف. وما وضع كذلك أيضا في ذمهما عن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم وما يروى من ذلك كله كذب مختلق. Next page, okay? And this is the very next page. من ذلك الأحاديث في ذم معاوية. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. So he's saying that all of the narrations that are slandering, or Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam is slandering, is false. Yani slandering Sahaba or whatever. False. The very next page, he says, from amongst this are the ahadith of the slander of Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu. So, ikhwa, this is to summarize. When these Shia, they bring you the scans, they bring you these screenshots, or the scholar said this about Muawiyah, and Muawiyah did this, and he's a kafir, and this, that, and the other. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. May Allah protect us from this qawl. This is what the ulama believed. This is the truth. This is the full context. And may Allah keep us on Islam, and may Allah raise us on Yawm al-Qiyamah with Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu.